DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hi there folks, welcome to DocTalk. Glad that you joined us today. I have two special guests, Dr. Tom Noffsinger and Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz from Production Animal Consultation. We're going to talk about weaning and acclimating cattle. We're glad you joined us on the show today. Stay tuned after these messages.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Welcome to DocTalk, and gentlemen, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good to be here, Dr. Dan.
Well, folks, Dr. Tom Noffsinger, Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz, they're world-class veterinarians and colleagues, and I'm fortunate enough to call them friends, and to get them cornered here in Manhattan and get them to be on the show is a special treat for me, and I know by the time we get done with the show it's going to be a special treat for y'all, because they're a wealth of knowledge, they're mentors for me, and it's fabulous to have you here. And we're going to talk about something that every fall we go through, and it's weaning calves, and then once we do wean them, getting them acclimated into either the grow yard, stocker, feedlot situation. And let's start out with, I think that Kip, you said something before we even started that acclimating or weaning doesn't start the day we wean.
Yeah, so one of the biggest misnomers, I guess, today in my eyes is something Dr. Tom and Bud Williams taught me, is that weaning does not occur the day of weaning. Weaning occurs the day the calf is born. And so when you ask a crowd that sometimes when you're doing a demonstration or a show, you ask people, well, when does the day of weaning occur? And they'll say, well, at 205 days, or in August or September, and sometimes October, and you always say no. It starts the day the calf is born, because there's a split second there for there's about 5, maybe sometimes a minute, where we create cow and calf separation when we identify the calf with a tag. Or we give a vaccination to that calf, we are separating that cow from the calf at that point in time. And how we do that is just vital as far as to the preparation of that calf for when that day actually occurs.
And Dr. Tom, you've done quite a bit of that work with not only other people's but your own cattle.
What's really embarrassing to me, Dan, is what I expected at weaning. I expected cattle to be separated, and these confused babies would circle the pen and cry and have almost no feed intake for several hours or several days. When in fact, people like Chris and Miranda from Australia and Bud have taught us that we should expect the animals to gain the same amount of weight on weaning day as they did the day before. And if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. But if you think about what Dr. Kip just said, if we start training and preparing, there's no reason those animals can't have a high level of appetite and confidence on the day that they're separated from their mother.
Yep, and I think a lot of times, going out there snatching the calf or acting like you're trying to steal the calf instead of working with the cow, you're just creating negative impressions all the way across the herd.
Yeah, you don't have to prove to her that you're a natural predator. She already knows that. And so you have to convince her that you're not there to eat her calf today. And so, or take her calf away from her. And when they kind of bull up on you and they want they think you are doing those things, it shouldn't be a surprise that they want to hurt you at that point in time. So how you do it, how you handle the cow at that point in time, it really means a lot at that point.
Good. Well, let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit more about some of these different separation techniques that you can practice prior to weaning and things that y'all have employed. Thanks for watching DocTalk. We got 2 great ones here. We'll see you right after these messages.
This Meet the Future Veterinarian is brought to you by Zuprevo. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment.
Brendan Martin was raised on a beef cattle, poultry, and crop farm in Virginia. During college, he worked and interned in the cattle industry while raising his own Angus herd. As a result, he became interested in bovine reproduction and the power of genetic progress within a cattle herd. After graduation, Brendan started Valley Herd Health in Virginia, working mainly with beef and dairy cattle.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer, Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher. Get the new hired hand for yourself or become a distributor. Visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here at the Veterinary School at Kansas State University, and I'm joined by Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz and Dr. Tom Noffsinger, who are veterinarians and also are with the group Production Animal Consultation, which is a group of bovine veterinarians. They also do some other protein sources, but we're not going to mention those today. We're going to focus on cattle, but international consultation of people's herds all around the world. And not only are they asked to come onto people's farms and ranches on a day-to-day basis to help them with production, medicine, and handling, they're also very busy being on the road doing veterinary continuing education, producer meetings, and we're just fortunate enough to catch them and get them here today. But Dr. Tom, you said something that was pretty interesting, that building trust in the calf helps the mother.
If we know that we're going to have challenges at weaning or calf separation in the fall of the year on spring-born calves, Dan, what's amazing to me is if we tag those cattle correctly, if we approach branding as an opportunity to teach the animals that they can be separated, if we refine the way we sort and separate mothers from their babies, all of a sudden weaning day is just like any other day of production. Branding, separating these mothers from their babies can be as simple as not just asking the mothers to come by and go left and the baby's right. There's lots of ways that we can train these animals to be sorted seamlessly so it makes sense to the animals. When we brand, it's an important BQA day. We have to make sure that we have a correct injection site selection and make sure that whatever we're going to do to identify and immunize that calf is done according to BQA standards. But at the end of the day, how we separate those animals, how we restrain them during branding, and then how we let them go back with their mother is an important event in that baby's life. You bet. And Kip, we think about some of the things when I never really thought about it, but the mild separation
actually builds up confidence for that calf to go through the real separation.
Yeah, so it's like in people, you know, sending kids to preschool before they go to kindergarten, and kindergarten before they go to elementary, and so forth. I mean, you're preparing that student or that calf for what's going to happen later on in his life. And you know, I have one client, Wolf Cattle Company, up in Atkinson, Nebraska, that they've started implementing some of these ideas, and where, like at pre-pasture turnout vaccinations, they'll create separation of that cow and that calf for 6 to 8 hours, just so they, you know, start preparing him to be separated from mom. The cow on one side of the fence and the calf still in the corral. Come preconditioning times in the fall or in the late summer, you know, they pick their day appropriately. You know, they don't try to vaccinate on a day when it's going to be 100 degrees out or 98 degrees out. They try to choose a day that is appropriate to vaccinate calves. And then they, at the end of the deal, they really work hard at just you know, doing the 6 to 8 hours again, and then putting a bunk of feed in front of that calf, so he's going to be introduced to something that he's going to be eating in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, let's come back to that, because I want to kind of go into a little bit more detail. But let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's talk a little bit about that 6 to 8 hour separation, feeding the bunk. You're watching Doc Talk, and we're glad that you joined us.
The BQA tip of the day, sponsored by Beringer Engelheim Vetmedica Inc.
Hello folks, this is Dr. Nels Lindberg with Animal Medical Center and Production Animal Consultation out of Great Bend, Kansas. Today's BQA tip of the day, we're going to visit about branding these cattle. Branding is a common procedure done throughout the United States and the world, but it's very important that we do the best we can to do that brand efficiently and in a timely manner. These cattle here turned out on right. We often brand these sort of cattle when they're turned out of confinement, so that if something happens, they get spooked, they get out, we have a means of identification of those animals for that producer. There's many different producers out there. They all have their different brands, but again, the important thing when we are branding these cattle is to have adequate restraint and to be able to do that brand in a timely manner. We want to make sure our brands are functioning properly, whether it's electric or if they're still being fired by propane or wood. We want to make sure that brand is good and hot so that we use the minimum amount of time to brand those animals. Again, adequate restraint and a properly functioning brand are keys to successfully branding cattle in a good and proper manner for that animal. Thank you.
Say this is a calf that's been run through the chute a few too many times. Going through the chute stresses cattle, causing them not to eat like they should. Luckily, Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ provides proven protection against key respiratory diseases in a single shot, with just one trip through the chute. Talk to your veterinarian about Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ, and soon your calves will relax and eat like a whole different animal.
Broadband has become as important to us as highways. That is why DocTalk is teaming up with NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association, and rural broadband companies like Blue Valley Telecommunications in fighting for quality broadband access through the program Smart Rural Communities.
I don't think we have any idea what's coming in the future. I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago what we're doing today. So in 2 years, I would guess there's things we can't imagine that we're going to be doing.
To learn more, visit ntca.org/smart or bluevalley.net.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We are having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
True Test Group, weighing systems, electronic identification EID, electric fencing, and dairy automation systems help farmers and ranchers around the world manage the performance of their livestock for ultimate profitability.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz, Dr. Tom Noffsinger. They're with Production Animal Consultation, and they spend a lot of time in veterinary practice and in production practice with many producers worldwide, have quite an organization. Y'all have veterinarians involved inside the United States, outside the United States that are involved, whether it's in Australia. Incredible organization, wealth of knowledge, somebody that helps us at the Beef Cattle Institute on a day-to-day basis keep abreast of industry issues and industry solutions. But Dr. Kip, as we left, we were talking a little bit about Wolf Cattle Company and some of the tremendous practices that they're employing with these calves prior to the day of maternal separation.
Yep. And so, you know, when they introduce those calves to a diet prior to weaning, something that they're going to be eating the day of weaning, I think it's so important. We've had research done in Canada where they've shown the importance of introducing some level of energy to that calf and what that does for mucosal innate immune production or sustainability, if you will, and how important that is to health. And one of the things we've seen there in our fall calves that we wean this spring up there is we've seen what Dr. Tom was talking about is that calves consuming the same amount of feed that they were consuming the prior day at weaning time. And we did that on 500 calves this spring on the fall calves. And it's amazing to me is come the first part of April, Dr. Tom, those calves were 1,100 pounds in the feed yard. And I think we treated like two animals. But it was all those steps that we took to prepare that animal to get to that point. That all started at calving time, and we just continued those steps all the way through to weaning and then on. It was just a continual day-to-day event of preparation.
You know, when we think about all the issues that we discuss, whether it's cattle health and well-being, judicious antimicrobial usage, food safety, the whole realm, everything that you're saying is exactly where we need to be. Dr. Tom, how do we get there? How do we get producers to understand and see this?
Well, what amazes me, Dan, is what Dr. Kip is describing at Wolf Cattle Company is simply these caregivers understand that at some point that young calf is going to leave its source of guidance and leadership, its mother. And what these people are gradually doing is just demonstrating to both that mother and that baby that here I'm going to be the source of leadership and care and nutrition and hydration for you when your mother goes someplace else. And those young animals learn quickly, and it's just a wonderful process. And so when an animal is in question, has curiosity, is not settled, they quickly accept that guidance and leadership from that caregiver.
It's excellent. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this show, but I want you all to know that this is going to be a two-part segment. So we'll have week 1 and week 2. So we're talking about week 1, preparing those calves for weaning and separation. Part 2 is going to be acclimating when they come to the feed yard. You're watching DocTalk. We'll be back after this message.
The BQA Tip of the Day, sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica, Inc.
Hello folks, this is Dr. Nels Lindberg with Animal Medical Center and Production Animal Consultation out of Great Bend, Kansas. Today's BQA Tip of the Day, we're going to talk about bunk space management as well as pen densities. In this sort of scenario, one size doesn't fit all, and we must always remember that. One of the most critical time frames of pen density and bunk space management is when we're starting high-risk cattle. We want to give those cattle as much room as we can. The general rule of thumb I use is if we're starting high-risk cattle, every animal must be able to come to the bunk at the same time. If you're looking at those cattle and feeding them in the morning and not every single high-risk animal can come to the bunk at the same time, we need more bunk space. May not necessarily do anything positive for the economics initially, but on the back end in terms of economics, it will pay on the front end to give them 18 inches of bunk space. We want to give them that bunk space to reduce stress, let them get good feed intake, also give them a good amount of space in the pen. That's our tip for today. Thank you.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at beyondtheelevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Working your cattle just got easier. Introducing the new VetGun delivery system, a new way to apply topical insecticides to your cattle. The VetGun lets you remotely treat cattle with effective parasite control, so you can do it just walking among the herd. It's that simple. The proven topical insecticide AML VetCap is used with the VetGun. It works fast to control horn flies and lice while minimizing stress on your cattle. Fast, easy, effective. VetGun. Check with your animal health supplier for availability.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
Beef producers asked for it, and the wait is over. Enroflox 100 Enrofloxacin from Norbrook, now approved for single-dose treatment and control of bovine respiratory disease. With the same active ingredient and dosing regimen as Baytril 100 in beef and non-lactating dairy cattle. Choose Enroflox 100 when looking for an injectable antimicrobial solution to treat and control BRD. Observe label directions and withdrawal times. See product labeling for full product information, including warnings and precautions. Consult your veterinarian to see if Enroflox 100 is right for your cattle. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz, Dr. Tom Noffsinger, veterinarians with Production Animal Consultation. And you know, Dr. Tom, we mentioned during the break that sometimes when you do the pre-weaning vaccinations or you're going to move these animals to the chute, that you might be able to do some practices that will make it easier to handle them for the multiple times you're going to run them through.
Absolutely, Dan. All of our cow-calf people have a vested interest in their customer, or if they retain ownership of these cattle, it's really important to build their confidence, especially if you're in the seed stock or you're going to save some replacement heifers. Pre-weaning vaccination is amazing. It's amazing how well vaccines work if we give them prior to disease, prior to stress. What we've added to that whole idea is that in a few minutes you can take a group of naive cattle that are a little bit sensitive and teach them to go through the processing facility of the chute. You can send 80 calves through that chute in less than 10 minutes and simply then stop, bring the cattle back, and then ask them to start through the facility for real. And it's just amazing how that changes those animals for the rest of their lives. And it absolutely gives those cattle more confidence, so that whether you're weaning or shipping or transferring these cattle, they're more willing to work for you.
Absolutely, and just taking that one step of taking your time, leading the cattle from the front, letting them go through that facility can pay off huge dividends throughout their lifetime.
Oh man, just the reduction in endogenous steroids, cortisol, and what cortisol does to immune function, you know, with suppressing it. So that when we give our virals and our gram-negative bacteria for preconditioning to prepare for those animals prior to disease, how important that is as far as that preparation step. I think, man alive, it just boosts your humoral immune function and your response to your vaccines if done properly. And so those steps, and then having good virals and again gram-negative bacteria prior to weaning and to the stressful events that are going to be coming up, I think is just very, very important.
Blackleg as well?
Blackleg, yep, the clostridials are very important. And so any of those bacterins and virals, modified live, certainly give.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand that reducing the stress helps the vaccines work better.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, gentlemen, thanks for joining me today. Folks, you must remember that this is the first of a two-part series. We've got the calves to weaning at this point in time, and when we come back to the show next week, we're going to be talking about what we do to acclimate them when we receive those cattle into the feedlot or the stocker facility. You've been watching DocTalk. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian, and if you want to know more about what we do here at Kansas State University, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. Thanks for joining us on DocTalk today, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com. DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.